welcome. This is Diego Accord here, and the ramblings of a bored guy. And the video today is going to be about the Japan trip. It's going to be part 3 of the Japan experience. So, the first video was about the history of me wanting to go to Japan for various reasons at various points in time, with varying amounts of seriousness, and various reasons it did not happen. And then, obviously it was able to happen. So I detailed why. Second video is about the accommodations I chose, why I chose said accommodations, as well as the flight. This video is going to be about actually being there. Then there is going to be the last video that's got some thoughts that I don't necessarily want to put into the videos due to time constraints. Keeping these videos the length that people listen. And this one's going to be a little bit longer than the other ones as well. So, I'm also going to disclaim that any, as I have been doing in these videos, any names that are in Japanese, I'm going to pronounce them with an American accent. And yes, I know what the actual pronunciation would be on these words. I did do a good amount of studying when I was younger, and like I said, I gave that up when I thought I was never going to go to Japan. There was no reason to do it. And then when I got, when I got everything settled for this trip, I did do a nice little crash course, try to get some, things back so I can be decent enough. But I'm actually going to talk about language in this video a little bit more depth. So, anyway, I arrived at Haneda at about 2:30ish p.m. And, for me, arriving at a place where, I don't have anybody, that I know or anything like that, my arrival time is the most important thing. I like to arrive between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to make sure that I can do everything that I need to do, once I'm at that place. An example of why not thinking about that is a bad thing, or, even if you're thinking about it, but whatever, you're like, I don't know why, maybe your departure time, you might depend on somebody to take you to the airport, bus station, or whatever, so your departure time is more important. But there would be people posting that, hey, we arrived here at, in Tokyo at an airport, and it's 1:30 a.m. How can we get to the city? I wouldn't have those problems just because of the way that I naturally would like to plan these things. So anyway, after arriving, I go through immigration, fill that information out, and then I make my way to the baggage claim, which is empty at this time. So, I look, I gotta call somebody, I suppose, and I see that I had a missed call from Tokyo, and I figured it had to be them just a few minutes prior, and it was. I had my stuff there, bringing it out, and then it was time to go to the car booth, the rental car. And I'm thinking that the agency is going to be on location, because that's what I'm used to seeing. But no, they gave me instructions to wait at a certain location in the airport, and I went down there, and 10-15 minutes later, the guy showed up in a Nissan van. I went to Nissan Haneda Otori, or Nissan Rent-A-Car Haneda Otori. Car was already on. It was sitting in front. The place already started. It was just waiting on me to sign my things in person, and then we were good to go. So a little mistake was made by me not getting money. First thing I wanted to do was course, at the airport, I wasn't trying to spend time, waiting through all, like, the shit ton of people, metric shit ton of people did not want to wade through them, trying to find the ATM, not knowing how much more time it's going to take up for that. And then also, the same thing with getting to the room, trying to find a place to park, and go get money, because you'd have to be lucky. You'd have to look up a 7-Eleven, which, I didn't even know this at the time. It just, when I started driving, I'm just like, I'm looking around, I'm like, it looks like it's very difficult to find parking, which, it ends up being how it is. I'll talk about that shortly as well. So I just didn't want to spend time trying to find money, and I'm thinking I'd be okay, but no, I come across a booth and I needed money, did not have it. It's a good start in Japan. So anyway, it's not that big of a deal. Just gotta give them my information, and then they take it down, hand me paper saying that I need to pay a toll in the amount of, a standard toll fee. Just pay that within 30 days. So the next time I go through one, I hand that in with an extra toll, and we are good to go. Hopefully my name's not in the criminal justice system of Japan. So I get to the room, Ryokan Nakadaya in Taito. I make it there, get checked in. The owner, after you do that, will tell you about the surrounding area, anything you might need to know, where to eat, supermarket, and so on and so forth, which is definitely good to know. And when it came out that I was driving, he was like, oh, so you've been here before then? Nope. And it actually is funny, because it kind of goes back to the people in the groups, especially Americans, not, being against driving, being so against driving, and being intimidated to do so. So, of course, he sees that I'm coming from there as well, and if I'm driving, I must be used to it. But no, not really. Now, of course, I've had a right-hand drive car in America, but it's harder to drive one here than it is over there, because you can't see half the turns you need to try to make. You can't pass people easily on, the dotted yellow lines. So it's a little more inconvenient, but over there, obviously, the cars are made for that, so to drive on the left, so you are good to go. Now, first thing that I did was I went to an arcade, Mikado Arcade. A guy, a friend that I've known forever. He told me that he watches streams from this place. They stream tournaments in older fighting games, like 90s games, and that people know how to play these games extremely well, which is right up my alley, because I prefer the stuff from the 90s. So I'm like, you know what? First thing I'm gonna do is go to that arcade, Mikado Arcade. And so I get there. They're streaming a Fatal Fury Real Belt tournament, no less, and I get matches in some Alpha 3, Super Turbo, EX2, Turret Strike. I even played Tekken 7, because you're not gonna find Tekken 7 cabs here. I don't play Tekken on sticks. I don't really play anything on sticks. I prefer pad, but especially Tekken. after leaving the arcade, it was time to get some food, get my first dinner, and I really don't mess with the Japanese food because yeah, I like stuff about their culture, but the food is not one of them. So it is what it is. You can gatekeep all you want because people did that, and I'm going to talk about that. Not going to Japan and not going to eat Japanese food. You shouldn't even go. Okay. So anyway, McDonald's was the stop, but upon I went to a McDonald's that was like somewhat close, I think in Shinjuku, and the amount of people in there, I'm like, let me turn around, because I'm thinking it's going to be ridiculous. Little did I know, had I stayed, I probably would have got my food like stupid quick, and it would have been the best for McDonald's. So anyway, I leave, and then I go to a random convenience store. It was probably a Family Mart or something. Get a sandwich, just one of the prepackaged sandwich, chips, drink, and like gummy snacks or something like that. And I was pretty much, excuse me, hiccups. I was pretty much amazed by the quality of that stuff. I mean, chips are chips, but even like the flavors that it says it's supposed to be much more accurate. And this is whether it's some random Japanese brand or, surprisingly enough, American brands. You can get anything made by Lay's over there in whatever flavors they make them for that market, and they'll taste exactly like that flavor instead of some like approximation, because like Cheetos, they taste like that cheese, that salt that they pour on popcorn at the movies, that and salt or whatever. Like that's all Cheetos taste like over here. But you get like some cheesy flavored Cheetos and it tastes like actual cheese. I don't know how, but it tastes like cheese. And of course you got like steak flavor ones and like all this other stuff. All this stuff's pretty good. Fruit snacks taste great over there. They're not like overpoweringly sweet like they are over here, but they're still tasty, so that's good. Now the sandwiches out of the convenience stores, I mean, these things were like perfect, and I don't even know, I mean, like, are they cutting these things in half with a laser? Because if you take a knife to a sandwich, you're going to like crush the part of the sandwich that you cut with the knife. But yet these things are like perfectly shaped. But the sandwich themselves, I mean, like the bread is like perfect texture. Because over here you get a sandwich like a pre-made sandwich out of the store or a Wheel of Death machine. I mean, bread's gonna be stale. The cheese is gonna be like that hard, crunchy stuff because it's been in the air too long. Meat, if it's supposed to have a pink tinge to it, like, bologna is supposed to be kind of pink. Salami is supposed to be kind of pink. Those things will be brown. And heaven forbid if the sandwich has like lettuce or something on it, it's going to be like mushy. Whereas on the Japanese stuff, like the lettuce is like crunchy. Like that they, okay, all right. So everything, yeah, that stuff's much better. I'm surprised. And then, I got I remember getting a meal one time, just like a spaghetti meal out of 7-Eleven. And it was fucking pretty amazing for being something out of 7-Eleven. Quality control seems to definitely be a thing there. So, anyway, I don't remember what I did specifically the next day, but my days would play out mostly where, I'd get up and then I'd want to do one of the big things on my list of things to do, like would go shopping for a car model. Go to Tamiya Place to find Tamiya models. I wanted to buy a certain game in Akihabara. And like certain stuff, go to like a car manufacturer museum. I want to do certain things, but the way that the day would work out is I would only really have time to do one of those things, and then I'd have to do something else that was not really planned later in the day, because I would not have the time. Anything that I would want to do wouldn't have been closed. So I just would do something random, just like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go check out Ginza or something, instead of going to whatever specific place I want to go. But I would just put that into another day's plans. Now, it would have helped to have a bit of an itinerary. Now, I avoided doing this because those people on the groups, they had like crazy itineraries by the hour. And I'm like, man, it does not sound fun. They're like, arrive at Haneda 4:30 p.m. Take bus to hotel at Tokyo Station. Arrive at 5:15 p.m. Check in. Put things away. Relax. Until 7 p.m. Go down, eat at a ramen place, at 7:30, and then spend rest of day relaxing. And that would be like an easy day that they had. Like there would be stuff where like, I guess since it's their first day, they don't want to do a bunch of stuff, so that's the only reason that the day ended at 7. Like a lot of their plans would just be way filled up with stuff, and even other people that like would make plans and be like, man, that's gonna make a trip like not that fun. But I mean, just doing that stuff at all really made it look not too fun. But what I should have done was at least have like 2 big things planned out, because if I would have had the 2 big things planned out, I could have done them in like one fell swoop for that day, and then probably did like random driving and walking later on in the day, such as knowing like if I wanted to travel, if I wanted to buy look for my Million Arthur game in Akiba, and then I knew exactly where to go to find the Tamiya Play Factory. I could just like boom boom, and then later on, because what I would do is I would go to the one major thing, then I would go back to the room. I mean, it was hot as hell out there, so I'd go to the room, and then I'd take all my stuff off, turn the AC, crank that up, just chill for like an hour, maybe even 2. Then I'd go back outside, go drive somewhere else. So that's kind of how things went. Now, about the convenience aspects. I mean, very convenient. Their convenience level is fucking pretty insane there. I mean, vending machines, multiple on every block. Like you'd never not have one in your line of sight. You can see multiple Family Marts and Lawsons and 7-Elevens like within eyeshot. I have a video literally where there are 3 Lawsons, I believe, like within my sight, like within my line of view, and I actually here's a Lawson right here, and then I look over to the left or something like that, and then, hey, so there's a Lawson, and then I look way down like the end of this alley, and you see the front of another Lawson's. I'm like, man, the convenience factor is ridiculous. Like I said, and despite having as many vending machines as they have, you don't find garbage. Like, people take their stuff with them and they'll carry it the whole time until they actually get somewhere that they can throw the stuff away, public or not. They're gonna take it all the way home. It's not all the way home. They're just not gonna let their place be desecrated by trash for the most part. Now, you'll see some cigarette butts because Japanese are some smoking ass people. So you'll see that. But yeah, so another aspect, cars and driving. It is very expensive to drive in Tokyo, and that is something that people said. Now, as I said about checking in, the guy was surprised that I was driving, the first time, because a lot of Americans are intimidated about driving. Now, driving itself is not that big of a deal, but parking is pretty fucking crazy to try to do. Because, the only place that I found, just parking that was free was outside of certain convenience stores that had it, and that's not all of them. Most convenience stores would just have a front, they would have a storefront just on the street, in rows with other places that you just couldn't park. They didn't have their own parking. Some of them did, most of them did not. And parking is just you might be going to a certain place, whatever it is, place to buy something, a restaurant, place to take care of some business, whatever you want to do, and parking spots might not even be around that location, around that specific place you're going. So you find where you're going, Google Maps takes you there, and it's okay, the place you need to go is right here, and your parking spot, you gotta find that once you find your place. And finding parking spots is pretty annoying to try to do, because you'll see the little sign for the parking, you'll see the P, and then you'll look, you might have to drive around again or something to find an actual spot, and then you get there, it's a little tiny K car. It'll be one fucking spot or some shit, just hidden in an alley, and yep, you pass it, you see, because you missed it the first time, and then you see it again, it's oh shit, alright, it's just one car. This whole parking sign and all this stuff is just for one spot. But of course, they probably make so much money with it, it's worth setting it up for just one spot. But of course, there's always a K car in that spot. So it's just when you see in America, you're in a parking spot or you're in a parking lot, and you see a bunch of SUVs, and you look oh, there's a spot between all these SUVs, and then you pull up closer to it, and there's a fucking Miata there or some shit. It's so that's how it is with those parking spots in K cars. Now the public transport is very good. I had to use it a couple times myself, and it was pretty amazing. Whatever time that you said that the stuff was going to be there, it was there at that time or earlier, never late. say that. Like, if you don't feel like you need to drive, I mean, as people say, you don't need to drive. You don't really need to. That's just who I am, so I'm going to drive. Next time I go there, I'm going to get a car. I mean, it came in handy for, I could go shop, put my bags in the car, and then continue to shop or browse or walk around without carrying the stuff. So that was good. And then because it was so hot, I could just relax in the car. Like, I go to the car for a bit, idle with the AC on, browse a phone, maybe like look for some stuff that's around where I'm at, get some ideas on some places to go to if I'm not just randomly walking. And good. Get out the car, nice and cooled off, good to go. So I mean, I would still get a car because I'm always, anytime I take a trip, it's always going to be when it's warm out anyway. Cold, can't do it. I don't enjoy it. So, that is what that is. Now, the most amazing thing that happened was driving that Lancer Evolution 6 of almost Sheroes. So, I took the car back. So what I should have done actually was, because the way that I did the cars was, I rented the car, the Nissan, for the first how many ever days it was, and then I had the Lancer. So I was, took the Nissan back. I went to go get the Lancer that was out of town. I had to, take the train to go do that. And then, I picked it up, and, I was going to get the Skyline R34 GTR the next day. So, there was a problem with that. So even when I initially booked the Lancer, there was a problem with the card not wanting to go through because they're like, oh, well, this charge from Japan. Is this legit? I'm like, yes, I need that. And here's a travel notification. I'll be there from this date to this date. So, I'm thinking like, okay, I put it through, it's all fine. So, I only booked the one car, and I plan to book the other car the next day, but only after I'm there, because I'm booking this ahead, like, so far that I don't know what the weather's going to be. So I'm like, to me, I mean, it's a wasted day if it rains. So I'm going to see what stuff's going to be like at that time. So, I get the Lancer, take the Nissan back. So actually, it's pretty funny how that happened, because I wasn't paying attention to, like, where the train station was. I just asked the guy. So, like, I took the Nissan back to Nissan Haneda. And, I asked the guy that I returned the car to, like, hey, is there a train station? And literally, the guy's like, it's across the street. So he points over there, and I see the Metro symbol. And I'm like, no fucking shit. Like, it's literally across the street. Like, because I'm thinking, like, I take the car back, and I gotta walk. Like, I have to walk wherever the hell this is. And it's gonna be like a probably a decent distance. But no, like, the shit's literally over there. Right? Across the street, at the train station, on my way to Noda to get the Lancer. So anyway, I got the Lancer, and then I said I was gonna try to get the Skyline the next day. But upon, like, the way I had to do it was, he wanted me to do it online. It had to be done the day before. So that day, so I could get the Skyline the next day. That day, online, in the office. I'm like, we can't just do this directly. But no, it had to be done online in the office. Or online, even though I was literally in the office. I'm like, he possibly could have ran it through, better something not letting me go through. I mean, the phone was talking about fucking SoftBank, which is, this, if you got Sprint, this is going to carry your phone in Japan. It's SoftBank, so, that happened. That pissed me off. So, I get the Lancer back. I'm back in the room still trying to put this damn Skyline through. And, it doesn't happen. I'm like, man, I gotta give up on this. Because I can't spend all day with this Lancer, with this Evo 6. I can't spend all day trying to fucking put the Skyline charge because I can't get through phone. Like, I'm having no problems calling anybody. And nobody's having problems calling me except for now. When I need to fucking put this thing through, which should have gone through in the first place. So, like I said, I tried it for a little bit after getting back with the car. Then I'm like, all right, fuck it, I gotta go back out. And then, I would try it again, like right before midnight, see if I can get it to go through. So I can still get the Skyline. I can take the Lancer back, tomorrow, and then pick up the Skyline. Just boom, boom. To go, but of course that's not how it worked out. So anyway, but the Lancer, like having that, taking that out on the shootout, I drove the other cars I had, the Nissans, I drove those on the shootout, but that was just like to get to where I had to go, the route it took me on was through that. But, I specifically went on the shootout to have the Tokyo Extreme Racer experience. And I'm going through like these turns and these curves. Like this is exactly, I know exactly where this is at. Like, oh my God. Like I can't even describe how it felt to be driving on the shootout and seeing like everything, 1-to-1. I've been playing, I've been playing those games for 20 years. I mean, they came out in 1999 and I went there in 2019. And I'm like, these streets, this highway is exactly like it is. The only thing that the games, like one of the Tokyo games had, like the red pavement, they had that in 0, but they didn't put it in any other Tokyo games. And then all those expansion joints, they put those in the newest one, but not in any of the rest. But, either way, I'm like, all the turns, the exits going here and there, so on and so forth, like, of course that stuff is all accurate, but going on it in real life and seeing like, that goes here. I'm like, man, this place, like this particular place I'm at, like, I know this place because, the far left and the far right, they both will turn to the right and they will converge back together. And there's a street, there's one lane that goes in the middle of that goes in another place. So in Tokyo Extreme Racer, if you start a race right there, if the AI goes to the far right and you're on the far left or vice versa, the race will continue. If one of you is in that middle lane that does not go to the same place, then the race will draw out immediately. I'm like, this is there. It's like, this turn is here. It's like so on and so forth. Like that was the most amazing thing. And of course, I got video of that. And I was driving that Evo 6. The car, I said that I needed to be doing that in the Evo 6 or Skyline GTR R34, and I got to do it. I mean, it was amazing. And like this is something, like going to Japan itself, but especially driving an Evo 6 on the Shudo Express. I'm like, all these things are just like boxes that have been ticked off ever since I left Walmart. I mean, things had been like, you know, things have been going great. You know, basically, ever since I left Walmart, you know, like boxes that were never ticked off and were never seeming like they were going to get ticked off were getting ticked off. You know, like, boom, this, I did this, boom, I did this, I have this. So, you know, and that is some specific, very specific stuff that, you know, I'm like, I've literally said to people when working at that job, like, man, the only way I'll ever get on the airplane is if I'm gonna go to Japan to go drive this car called the Lance Revolution 6 or Skyline GTR. I want to drive one of those cars on their highway system over there called the Shudo Express. And I'll get on a plane if I get to go do that. But other than that, I'm never getting on a plane. And I literally get to go do that. So, I mean, that was a fucking amazing ass night. And I was listening to Tokyo Extreme Racing music while driving on the Shudo Express, the backdrop of Tokyo Extreme Racer. So, I mean, amazing, you know, amazing night. So, anyway, you know, I go to take the 9006 back, and it's pretty fucking crazy. Like, the way that this damn thing took me, like, these were some narrow passages, and, you know, everybody over there has got, like, some tiny cars. I mean, I saw some, like, big cars. Like, surprisingly, I saw a fucking Dodge Ram. Like, you know, I'm in the countryside over there near Noda, near Noda. And, you know, I need to make this turn. And, you know, the guy that lets me in is driving a fucking Dodge Ram. And I'm like, all right, man, Dodge Ram. But, I mean, that area was crazy because, I mean, they were flying. I mean, there's, like, tight little spaces, and, you know, they got small cars, and they have, like, a lot of K cars, and just real tiny cars and stuff like the Nissan, and I'm in this Lancer, like, I'm not intimidated to drive, so I'm driving as well, but I'm like, man, this ain't my car. This doesn't feel good driving, like, you know, it wasn't the most comfortable situation to be in, but, you know, whatever. There's no bitches here. So, yeah, took that back. I mean, you know, of course, you know, on the way up there, you know, I really didn't have much time because it was, you know, it was getting late. It's crazy, though, because I had to take this same trip. I don't remember the walk that the guy took, but before I went, you know, I was watching the video of the Renault Skyline, the GTR, from almost Shit Road. You know, he got out to the train station, same train station. He had to walk, you know, the 20 minutes or whatever it is from the train station to the actual place, which is what I had to do. I don't know if he went the same exact path that I went. I don't remember the video. But it was crazy that, like, I was watching this video, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I'm over here taking this same trip to this same place. And, I mean, you know, so, you know, that was cool, but, you know, I didn't have a car on the way back. But like I said, what I should have done was I just should have had the Nissan for the whole time, and then just, you know, Lancer and or Skyline, if they both would have happened, they would have been just, you know, separate. I would have just had two cars at once, and that would have saved, you know, I would have saved one of my weekend nights. Or actually, I don't know if I even got a car on Sunday. Like, yeah, I had to wait until like Monday and shit, I think. So I didn't have a car the Saturday evening after taking the Skyline or the Lancer back, and then of course couldn't get a car on Sunday. So I mean, I didn't have a car that day, and that's when I was using the public transportation and found out that, fuck, public transportation is not shitty like it is here. So, good deal. But, there's some things that, I didn't do, like I was going to do. Like I was going to go out on, Saturday night. Hopefully the original plan would have been to have the Skyline. Take that out on Saturday. But I ended up not going out on Saturday. I mean, I walked around Taito a bit. But, if I had to go on, on a train, went to somewhere like Roppongi or something like that, I'd have been stuck there until like 5 in the morning. Whenever I would have got there, 10, 9, 10 at night, whatever it would have been. Last train would have been like at 12. So, I mean, I either could have got the last train or I would have had to stay around there until 11. And Roppongi, yeah, I mean, I did go there when I had a car. Did I get a car Sunday? I don't remember. It might have been Sunday that I was able to get a car. But, either way, I mean, I went there, but I wasn't going to go without a car. I'm like, if there's supposed to be a quote-unquote bad place, it's Roppongi. Although, unless they have, some kind of crazy McDonald's in the UAE, which I imagine they probably do, because, that's the richest country on the planet, the United Arab Emirates. So that, if there's a super crazy ballin' ass McDonald's, it's probably there, but the one in Roppongi Hills, that's a pretty nice fucking McDonald's. The best one I've ever been to. So, I'm walking down the street and there's a fucking Ferrari dealership and stuff like that. I'm like, it's supposed to be a bad place in Tokyo. What's, the only thing, I did see the Africans. Like, hey man, hey, I got some girls. If you want some, we got the Chinese, we got the Japanese, we got the Russian, we got the African. Just come to my bar. I'm like, nah. I'm quite all right, friend. Because, everybody knows. Before I'm sure that people fall for it. Because dudes, I don't know. When you get that little head thinking, stuff that you shouldn't do, you do. Like, going with those guys going into their bars. Like, literally, all I heard were stories like you go into the place, they roofie you up, and you'll be on camera, basically giving them all your fucking money because you don't know what you're doing. And, you can't really say anything about it because if you go to the police, they'll have you on camera doing all the actions yourself under the influence. And even if not, police aren't really going to do anything about that anyway. And it's just like, well, you're fucked, Gaijin. You're not going to get any help on that stuff. So, it's like if you've heard the stories, do you think you're going to be the one that, gets away? That you are going to buck that system? They've been doing that shit forever. I don't think that anybody's going to beat them. All you're going to do is have all your money spent. But, I know a lot of people go over there for the purpose of, getting some J-ass. So, yeah, but like I said, that did happen. They did approach me about girls in Roppongi, and there was some other place that is supposed to happen, but I don't. Yeah, you know what? It happened there too, and that was Kabukicho. I think somebody said something. Some African. But I did hear a guy just, he was talking to his friends. There was like a group of people so, he was being shitty about, people in his beloved place, more than likely. But the only other thing that really happened like that was some kid, like when I was on the train, some kid that said they were scared, started grabbing their mother's leg or something like that. And we're talking about somebody that's like 3 or something, probably 3 years old. And then the mother's like, you'll be all right. You all right, boy. Oh, there, boy. You all right. So, and that's all that happened. Like, that kid, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I haven't seen anybody that's a foreigner. Or maybe a non-white foreigner, I don't know. But, I mean, but, I let, like those things are like fucking tiny. And those were the only things that happened that I was aware of. Because, I could go to a place that had an elevator. If there was just some Japanese woman or whatever, she didn't hesitate to get on the elevator. Or, any stuff like that. Oh my God. I mean, I've heard I've watched videos where people have said that stuff, like that kind of situation has happened to them, where the person didn't want to get on the elevator with them or whatever. And for me, it didn't happen to me. Like, I had no problems with that, and I was in situations like that multiple times. Only person too, not like a group of people. I'm just like, I'm the only person. They're the only person. They get on the elevator. They nod. So on and so forth. There's nothing. There's nothing to make of it. And literally, that is less than what'll happen here. Like, I could go downtown in the city. Now, if I'm, if I'm getting out of my car, dressed, in my casual stuff, or how I used to have to dress for work before, at previous jobs, which now at work, I can dress like a bum, which is great because, 6-figure bum, that's okay. But, if I dress in my own casual stuff and I'm getting out of one of my cars, then, I'm okay. If I'm dressed not the best and, some people didn't see what I got out of and whatever, I could be going to the bank, taking out, a deposit, doing some money, some money business, financial business. And you got people that'll act stupid over here. And I'm like, this didn't happen in Japan, where it would have been far more expected to happen, and it didn't happen. But, like I said, now I know if I was to go live over there, there'd be much more stuff to deal with in that manner. So, I'm not gonna get it twisted, but that's gonna be some stuff for that last video. But yeah, overall, amazing ass time. The place is unreal. You go see some temples, you go see some stuff that's like, from previous eras, and it's just like, man, this. And then you go see some of that postmodern stuff, and it's just crazy. Like, damn. eating, I did not really eat. I mean, like, I ate at Japanese places. I did not eat, like, the staples that everybody are like, I ate, like, steak. I ate steaks, hamburger steaks, stuff like that. But, like, none of the seafood stuff. I don't like seafood unless it's, I'll go to, Long John Silver's or Captain D's or whatever, and some battered fish. Like, that's it. I don't even like much of this other stuff. I don't like shrimp. You can keep shrimp. You can keep, like, fish that's prepared pretty much any other way. That's other than how they do it at a restaurant. No, I don't like that fish with that cornmeal shit on it. And then especially when you see like that kind of stuff and the fish has everything still on it. Like they just dumped it in cornmeal, but it still has like the skin and the fins and shit like that. I'm like, come on. So you look at, to me, I look at Japanese food and it's like, it's the same thing except for it's not even cooked. So I'm not trying to eat that shit. Sorry, not sorry. But, as I said, the McDonald's, amazing service you don't get over here. One thing that I had that was nasty over here, or over there, that is slightly better over here is Domino's. I didn't get like a bunch of pizzas and stuff like that. I only had one pizza, and it was a Domino's pizza, and it was nasty. It was dry. Like there was not a grease spot in the middle of the box or anything. Like, man. So that I'll have a pizza next time I go, but it won't be Domino's. Or I have to try to order a bunch of extra stuff. Because even normally, like Domino's, normally, I'm still like that shit needs extra cheese, extra sauce in it anyway. Or otherwise, it's like eating a cracker. So I guess it probably wasn't like that much worse than standard Domino's without having them make it special for you. But it wasn't a big deal. And the fact that stuff is the way that it is, like that. You can have a whole pizza. The size of the pizza was smaller compared to the same, getting the same size over here. Same thing with the fries and drinks, with the whole meal or whatever at McDonald's. Like it was just a smaller size. Like we wanted a large, whatever. It was like the same size of a medium over here. But you see a bunch of people like straight up and down bodies. Like if an old man has on his button-down shirt and his slacks or whatever, like the whole front of his outfit is going to be like perfectly flat. There isn't going to be like a belly overhang. You see some people like that. It's not like there's not 100% like skinny people, but the percentage-wise compared to over here is just like cray. And the older people over there look like they can take care of themselves a lot better than the ones over here. So that's the thing. But that's pretty much, that pretty much covers everything that I'm not gonna talk about in that last video. Now I'll touch on this little subject a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about it more in that one. Now, language. I really should have spoke about this earlier in the video, but language. The people in the groups will say that, nah, man, you don't know Japanese. But I personally found that, outside of like the first, like two or three things I did, like the, getting a car, calling, when the people called me from the airport and I called them back, that was in English. Getting the car was in English, and the owner of the inn who could speak English. But like literally after that, there was no English. So I don't know where people are like, oh, you don't know Japanese? Because I'm like, even at like a store, like even at a 7-Eleven, I'm thinking like, oh, this is Tokyo. Everybody's saying like, people in Tokyo are used to foreigners. And, I'm going somewhere like a 7-Eleven, they probably see a ton of foreigners. I'm like, so is he going to try to default to English? Because I look like I do. No. So, the first day, like the places I went the first and second day, because the first day I only went to the arcade, and, to get some food or whatever. But, at the second day, I'm asking people when I come up to their, like when I come up to the counter or whatever, do they speak English? Just asking, just because I heard it, that's what they do. And they're like, no. So I'm like, Japanese it is. So, I was fine, but I don't know where people are like, you don't. But, actually, you know what? I just thought of an idea about that. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get into that other video, because this language will be a topic of it. I don't want to talk about it too much in this one. So, that'll be it for this video. Comment, like, subscribe. I know I'm getting a couple of subscribers, but I know it's all for car stuff. So, but I would like some subscribers on these videos, because there'll be other subjects that I'll be talking about. It's just these 4 videos about this particular thing. So, all right. That'll be it for now. I'll see you later. And you know what? We need money. Do you have a plan? Arthur, I have a plan. We just have to stick to the plan. And then we will get money. Money. All right, boy.